It is Sunday. Hustle, and burn. Come on, man. What's up, guys? It's your boy out here, CJ the DJ, man. Today's episode is sponsored by a great company. I'm super excited about this partnership, the Impact Co, guys. The Impact Co, all about elevating yourself, empowering others. You guys know that's what I'm all about. We chat about it on the pod all day while you listen to me blabber, man. But they have a product available called the IT Band. It stands for Internal Toughness and Inner Torch, okay? They have their red band available for order right now, guys. You can buy one for $5 or 2 for $11. If you get the 2 for $11 bundle, it comes with a third band, which is white, okay? Each band stands for something different. So the red on the inside has resilience. The white on the inside has faith. So you buy 2, you get that third one free. It's basically a 3 for $11 deal, guys. And then you're able to give that other red band that you can get out to someone else to continue to pass their message along. I love the message. I love that daily reminder staying on your wrist. So go check out the Impact Company. The link will be in the description of this video. Great company. Very excited about the partnership, and they are today's sponsor. Let's get into it, man.
Yo, what is up, everybody? It is your boy out here, CJ the DJ, coming to you live with a brand new episode of Hustle and Burn. As always, man, appreciate y'all tuning in. It is Sunday. It's beautiful outside, and hell yeah, we got some football. So hopefully everybody had a great weekend. Hopefully we can end it off right. Yeah, dig? My apologies to everybody for last week. Had some upload issues. Pod didn't upload till like Tuesday, so it is there, but I wasn't gonna give you a little, half-ass promo, nothing like that. Late, delayed, all the news, everything like that. So my fault, but we back, baby. Yes, Hersky. Let's get right into it with the Not For Long League, man. Real quick, Jalen Ramsey with the first quarter INT last week. Miami, are you there? You could have used him, but whatever. We'll save that for another day. The biggest news coming out of the Not For Long League is the fact, guys. In some cases, it is the Not For Long League, man. Joe Burrow hurt again. Yet again. And it's a leg injury. Again. Yeah. Okay, I don't want to hear everybody talking about, well, this time it's an ankle and blah, blah. It's a leg injury, bro. It's another leg injury to his already damaged legs. And for me, the way Cincinnati is, especially with their players and shelling out money, they already shelled out money for Joe Burrow. But, I mean, at this point, we're having conversations about potentially moving on from Joe Burrow. 1,000%. I don't care what anyone has to say. At this point, especially when you plug in the backup quarterback, he's playing pretty well. Joe Burrow is consistently hurt. It's consistently leg injuries, man. It might be time to wrap it up if you're Joe Burrow. Like, he has been sacked, guys, more times than Andrew Luck. There was a stat comparison this week. I'll see if I can get it so I can put it up for you guys. He has been sacked, guys, more than Andrew Luck in their careers, man. And y'all know what happened to Andrew Luck retiring early because his body was just damaged. He was getting beat up and banged up, man. And the Cincinnati Bengals just cannot seem to protect Joe Burrow. And so, from his perspective, damn, brother, it might be time to wrap it up before you can't walk or some shit in the next 5-10 years, right? Like, that's why Andrew Luck, aside from concussions and stuff, walked away. But at the same time, from Cincinnati's perspective, are we looking at moving on from Joe Burrow? This is now 4 or 5 years, man, that this guy's been hurt. And again, a lot of times, in most cases, it's leg injury. So I'm just bringing it up. I'm just putting it out there for y'all, man, that it might be time for Cincinnati to wrap it up in terms of Joe Burrow. It might be time for Joe Burrow to definitely want to move on as well from Cincinnati if you're him in that situation. What are we even doing, right? Like, I don't know. We're going to flip from some bad news on one quarterback to some terrific news on another quarterback, man, as we kind of continue here. Now, Baker Mayfield, guys, it's really time to have a conversation about Baker Mayfield. Like, Baker Mayfield right now is first in touchdowns across the NFL for quarterbacks, first in passing yards across the NFL for quarterbacks, okay? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have went to the playoffs like 5 years straight. Baker been there 3 straight, okay? And for me, I think what doesn't get talked about enough in terms of the way that Baker Mayfield is playing and everything that he's doing is think about the fact, bro, that he's coming in off Tom Brady's departure. He's coming in off Tom Brady's departure. He's filling Tom Brady's shoes for the coaching staff, for the GMs, for the fans, for the players, bro. He's filling Tom Brady's Super Bowl winning shoes, bro. That's what we're talking about. So it's like, for me, I think that doesn't get talked about enough because, and obviously it wasn't as long of a tenure in Tampa Bay for Tom Brady as it was in New England, but you see what happens when you have this, spotlight to fill these shoes of Tom Brady for an organization. That's exactly what happened to Baker Mayfield. That's exactly what happened to Baker Mayfield. So it's like he had the biggest shoes to fill coming into Tampa Bay, and he has stepped up to the plate every single time. I know it's of course only week 2, so I'm not going crazy. Baker Mayfield ain't the best quarterback in the NFL, or anything like that, but I just think it doesn't get talked about, guys, enough what Baker Mayfield has done for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and taking them to the playoffs 3 years, being the quarterback that he's being. This year, through 2 games, he does have 0 interceptions. He does have 0 interceptions, and that's always that's always kind of Baker's biggest thing. Is funny enough, he's like Jameis, right? Like he's like Jameis Winston, where you're coming into the game, he might play well, he might do some things, but you're expecting 1 to 2 turnovers, from Baker Mayfield at the end of the day. In most cases, I would say, when you're watching. That's kind of what the narrative is painted to be around Baker Mayfield, and that's kind of how he performs. But this year, he has been protecting the ball more. He's just been throwing strikes, again, first in yards, first in touchdowns. So it is definitely time, guys, to have a Baker Mayfield conversation, because at this point, he's got this new Amike guy as a new target. He's got Mike Evans, obviously Mr. 1000. They're doing all the things that they're doing without a Chris Godwin back from injury yet. Like, at the end of the day, man, I'm telling you, like, it's crazy to me just to think, like, the Carolina Panthers of all teams and how they're performing right now. The Carolina Panthers had this guy on the fucking defensive line, bro, playing defensive line in practice, bro, before he walked away from the team, before he went and signed with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay gave him a shot, trusted him, and look at how he stepped up to the plate, man. It's time to have a Baker Mayfield conversation. I ain't saying he's the number 1 quarterback in the league, but if he plays consistently like this, he keeps protecting the ball like he is, not throwing interceptions at least, Baker Mayfield is going to be in the conversation for a top 3 quarterback, top 5 quarterback this season, and the Bucs are going to be a scary team again this season. Again, like, this is not a team to be slept on. I feel like every single season, for some reason, we sleep on Tampa Bay until they make the playoffs, until they have a great game and potentially go, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like every single season, especially since Brady has left, that's the narrative, is Tampa Bay's not real, and it's always surrounded by Baker Mayfield. But he's been one of the most consistent quarterbacks across the NFL since he's been in Tampa Bay. And this year he's really shining. So Tampa Bay is scary, guys. Keep an eye on Tampa Bay. I am telling you guys right now, they are very scary, man. They are very scary. We gonna get into a quick fantasy wrap of the week for y'all real quick. Fantasy wrap of the week. This for my fantasy players. We don't dive too into depth on the stats and everything, but I'm just kind of giving y'all the news so you know what's going on. Obviously, guys, Derrick Henry is not one that is known to fumble, but for fantasy managers, just do know. Obviously, you know at this point, but for anyone that's, looking at Derrick Henry, potentially has them on their team, he has 2 fumbles already through this season, guys. And if Derrick Henry has 1 more fumble, we may be looking at an issue from him, of not being able to protect the ball for some odd reason, whatever the case may be. It's been 2 punch-out fumbles. Both the fumbles that he's lost this season, they've been punch-out fumbles. So it's just something about the way he kind of tucks the balls and the way that the DBs are targeting on those closed fist punches that they're able to do at this point. Derrick Henry may have a fumble problem, and for fantasy managers, it is something slight just to pay attention to, and his output hasn't been the same as it was last season to begin this season. So we'll see, man. Keep an eye on Derrick Henry. This week, Jaden Daniels, of course, is out, and so Marcus Mariota is starting now. And this is, of course, not a long-term sort of thing, but I think weeks like this really show you the impact of a player on a team. And what I mean by that is, obviously the hype is this week early on was surrounding Mac Jones and the way that he played and looked in his debut in San Francisco playing for Kyle Shanahan, right, in San Francisco's offense. And I think it's kind of the same thing where you're going to see if Washington is also kind of a plug-and-play sort of team or if Jaden Daniels really is the magic, right, for this sort of game. These are the games that you see that happen. And, in San Francisco, you kind of see it's plug and play. Any quarterback can step in. Any quarterback can have success and at least look good. Again, it was against the Saints, nothing crazy, even though people want to hype it up and talk about it at the end of the day. But realistically for me, again, this is one of those games for Washington where we see, is it a system thing or is it a Jaden Daniels thing? How important is he to this offense? How important is he to this team? Obviously, we know he's a very important player, but just how important is he is what we're going to see this week. So keep an eye on that just for fantasy managers and, keep an eye on that, just his injury, his injury fully. We definitely need to keep a close eye on kind of what's going on there if he's back next week. If he misses multiple weeks, that'll be kind of crazy. But keep an eye on the Washington Commanders, and we'll see if they go back to the Redskins soon. We'll see, man. And, hey, in fantasy, we going to put it out already, and I'm a victim. I am a victim. I'm a victim, man. Travis Hunter is on bust alert, ladies and gentlemen. Through 2 games, he has 9 catches for 55 yards, and for me, it isn't even like the 9 catches, 55 yards. I know that doesn't sound too bad through 2 games, right? Like, he's getting 4.5 catches, whatever, man. I don't want to hear it. Trust me, I have him in fantasy, but to me, it isn't that. Like, I've watched their games. I've watched both games, and to me, Travis Hunter as a wide receiver, like, he's not getting off the line very well. He to me is not getting off the line very well, or he's just used as a dumbass decoy in a play, like he's not doing anything. Like, to me, he has not been a threat in any way, shape, or form. And that's why I'm putting Travis Hunter on the fantasy bust alert. And again, I'm a victim of it. Travis Hunter is on fantasy bust alert, guys. It just seems to me like he's a non-factor in the offense. He's really not even involved that much. And so at that point, I just think you put him at quarterback in the NFL. Like, if you're not going to play him at wide receiver and you're not going to be effective in the offense, to me, I don't see the point to have you out there aside from a decoy, which, again, looking at this, I saw a lot of plays where it seemed like Travis Hunter was just out there as kind of like a decoy. You know what I mean? But at this point, he's not a solid wide receiver 1 or 2 or a flex play, only averaging about 7 points in fantasy right now. So, I know a lot of people are going to say it's too early, but I like to stay consistent with my takes, and so even though it is too early, I am putting Travis Hunter on the fantasy bust alert. On top of that, I am putting Ashton Genty on the fantasy bust alert. All right, and I know it's early, and looking at him, it seems like he's just ready to break out, but the Raiders just might be missing that one more offensive line piece. I don't know what it is, but they haven't been able to put it together on offense. And Ashton Genty hasn't looked like the dominant force that he was in college. Obviously, I think that's where you see, kind of the difference in levels of play, right, versus college and the NFL is, when you're not playing against scrubs, right, you're playing against grown-ass men who are doing this, trying to feed their families. You're not going to be able to do the things that you were doing in college. He looks like he's poised for a breakout run sometimes, and every single time then he gets tripped up, and just the O-line and the offense can't get things moving, so they load the box on them, and he gets 2-3 yards, maybe 4, you know what I mean? And that's just not the type of rusher, I guess, that Ashton Genty was expected to be for, the Raiders and kind of coming into the league. He's an explosive runner. We're not expecting him to be just a 3 to 4 yard per play back, right? Like, that's definitely not what we expected. So I'm definitely waiting for him to, pop out and kind of get some things going. But as of right now, Travis Hunter as well as Ashton Genty, guys, to me, are on the fantasy bust alert. I'm just saying. Already off of most people's teams in this case, and if he's not, you're insane. Caleb Williams. This one's quick. Really, for me, guys, I just want to say regarding Caleb Williams on the record, like, everyone said acquiring Ben Johnson was the best thing for Chicago, for Caleb. Like, this team's going to be great. And to me, it wasn't the best thing for Caleb Williams. And the reason that is because realistically, at this point, now you have a proven head coach, right? Who's proven he can win, who's proven if he has the pieces around him on an offense that they can win football games, stuff like that. He throws in the crazy plays, all the stuff Ben Johnson is known for. That's Ben Johnson, right? Like, the Chicago Bears have obviously not an equally as talented team in terms of positionally every piece on the field as the Detroit Lions, but the Chicago Bears have an absolutely stellar offense. They have a good O-line, they have great wide receivers, and at that point, all you need is a solid quarterback to kind of go at it and have success, right? Like, Chicago has the talent. That's just what it is. Chicago has the talent. And so now it flips, and the spotlight is fully on Caleb Williams. This is not college football, Caleb Williams. Same with Travis Hunter. This is not college football. Like, if you're going to be on the field, make an impact. Do something. Like, what are y'all doing? This is just crazy to me. But at some point, I think, it just goes past their God-given abilities. And it's like, maybe you just are not fit to play for this coach, for this team, whatever it is. Maybe Chicago is going to be blowing up on Caleb Williams after this week. I'm telling you right now, Chicago's going to be blowing up on Caleb Williams after this week. I promise you. I promise you, man. I promise you. All right? Now, let's get y'all what you came here for. I know it's been a rough couple weeks, but this week we locked in.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy out here, man. Want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor for all the NFL chat that we have, but especially for these NFL bets that we got coming up for you, man. ORSBC, guys. This is the hottest football club in the Box State, the hottest club, period. All right. This year, they are located down at Sueños Cantina. Hottest spot, I'm telling you, especially when it comes to watching football. So come on down. You can actually meet us there today. Yes, today. All right. So scrub your ass, tie up your shoes, whatever you got to do. Come on down, man. Have a good time. Don't matter if you're a Raider fan, not a Raider fan. Come on down. Have a great time, man. Sueños Cantina, ORSBC.Denver. Go look them up, guys. See the themes they got, the watch parties that they got coming up. And shout out to them for sponsoring the pod. Let's get back to it.
So let me give you the lock of the week this week, man, for the bets, of course. Now, for the lock of the week, guys, this is 4 legs total. At the time of the bet, it was plus 354. There is, for my FanDuel peeps, a 30% profit boost if you want to go pop it on that, man, in this case. But first leg of the lock of the week, man, they've had 2 consistent weeks, and rather than going against the grain like I usually like to do in certain situations, like I called the Buffalo Miami game on Thursday being a close game. People said it was going to be a blowout. I knew that wasn't going to happen, Rather than do that and go against the grain, I'm going to go with my eyes are showing me back-to-back weeks. And that's that the Colts could be a top 5 to 7 team in the NFL if they stay consistent and Daniel Jones stays consistent in the way he is and throwing the ball, not turning the ball over. And rather than going against the grain, I'm going to take what my eyes are showing me that at the end of the day, the Titans are a bottom 5 to 7 team as well. They are a bottom 5 to 7 team, whereas the Colts could be a top 5 to 7 team. So leg 1, guys, I got the Colts money line versus the Tennessee Titans for the lock of the week. All right. Leg 2, I got the Seahawks money line versus the Saints. Guys, the Saints, even with Kellen Moore at the end of the day, the offensive guru that he is, just can't get the offense going and can't pick things up. Seattle's got a couple weapons. To me, this is the easiest pick of the week. So I am going to go with the Seattle Seahawks. I picked them in my pick'ems at work, man. $20 squares, man, my last one. I picked Seattle, man, over the Saints. So I got Seattle money line for leg 2 of the lock of the week. Leg 3 of the lock of the week, like I told you, man, Chicago is shot, man. I got the Dallas Cowboys money line versus the Chicago Bears. Again, I've seen all I need to see from the Bears. It is what it is. The Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson dynamic duo thing ain't going to work. And I think a bad loss versus the Dallas Cowboys is just the thing you need to turn the heat up in the kitchen fully on Caleb Williams and really expose the fact that this kid ain't ready, or at least ain't ready for a Ben Johnson, type of offense, and kind of firepower that Ben Johnson, of course, as a coach is looking for. So third leg, Cowboys money line versus the Chicago Bears. And the fourth leg of the lock of the week for me, guys, the Chiefs money line versus the New York Giants. I know the Chiefs ain't looked that good through 2 weeks. You know what I mean? I know. They ain't looked good through 2 weeks, but the Giants to me have looked worse than the Chiefs on both sides of the ball. On multiple different metrics, right? And the Chiefs are still the Chiefs, guys, right? Like, it's still Patrick Mahomes, still Travis Kelce, still Andy Reid. They still got some weapons. Like, I don't care. Chiefs money line versus the New York Giants. So that's the lock of the week. Again, at the time of the bet, guys, plus 354. Colts money line, Seahawks money line, Cowboys money line, Chiefs money line. Go lock it in. Comment below if you locked it in. Let me know how much dough you got. All right. And this one here, we got the juicy parlay of the week for y'all, man. The juicy parlay, for those that don't know about the juicy parlay, man, any of these juicy parlays we do will be plus 1,000 odds or more. All right. So this juicy parlay this week at the time of the bet, guys, was plus 1,248. Again, there is a 30% profit boost on FanDuel for those that want to pick that up and maybe put it on top of that. This week, the juicy parlay, we're going all spreads for these 4 legs. Pause. Crazy. First leg of the juicy parlay of the week for y'all, man. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars, guys, minus 1.5 versus Houston. All right. For me, Houston hasn't been able to put a good, consistent game together. And kind of a cohesive game together. And Trevor Lawrence hit the media with the little relax, basically, hit him with a little relax this week. Or, in other words, for the haters, like, chill. All right. Chill, man. So, that's what's going on. I feel like I got Jacksonville popping out for a feel-good win this week. Versus Houston, who, again, just can't kind of put it together. So I got Jacksonville minus 1.5 for the first leg of the juicy parlay. Second leg coming at y'all, man. I got Atlanta minus 5.5 versus the Carolina Panthers. I've seen the Panthers and what I need to in terms of improvement by the team overall. And I've seen Atlanta in terms of what they look like in terms of improvement by the team overall. And due to that and kind of the differences in improvement and the way that Carolina's played versus the way that Atlanta's played, the way that Bijan Robinson is going to look, I think he's going to come in and dust everyone on the Carolina defense for probably 2 tutties this week. If you want to go lock that in on the side, put in Bijan for 2 tutties. You feel me? Because I think they're just going to go off this week. And I definitely think the Atlanta Falcons handle the Carolina Panthers handily. So second leg of the juicy parlay, we got Atlanta minus 5.5 versus the Carolina Panthers. Third leg of the juicy parlay, I know my Broncos fans gonna be mad at me, but I got the Chargers minus 3.5 versus the Broncos, man. I told Broncos fans this Bo Nix savior story crap was done. It was over. He wasn't that good. Nobody wanted to listen. They thought the Broncos were Super Bowl contenders, and the Broncos this year, thus far, at least, ain't been able to kind of find their stride on offense. Chargers defense is holding teams to under 14 through these first 2 weeks, scoring almost 25 a game on offense, since the offense is now stepping up and looking way better than they were. Harbaugh, to me, of course, is one of the most slept-on coaches. I've been very high on the Chargers. I told y'all I got them winning the division this year in the AFC West for me. And, I feel like they're keeping the Chargers focused. Harbaugh's like keeping the Chargers focused. They're protecting Justin Herbert, so he's able to get the ball out and off in a quick fashion and manner. He's able to find the receivers. And for me, I think the Chargers win by a touchdown or more, and the division talk really goes to the Chargers winning the AFC West. I really do. After this week and they handle kind of the Denver Broncos by a touchdown or more, again, I think the -3 is easy this week for the Chargers. I think they're going to handle the Broncos. They're going to win, and the noise of the Chargers winning the AFC West is going to start to really, really, really start to rumble. They're going to be talking about how real the Chargers are. Believe you me, because I feel like they're going to handle Denver pretty handily as well. All right, so third leg of the juicy parlay, Chargers -3, guys. Now, fourth leg of this juicy parlay, I have the Arizona Cardinals, guys, +2.5 versus San Francisco. I don't care if Christian McCaffrey's playing. I don't care if Mac Jones looked better than he ever has. It was versus like the Saints. All right, I ain't even trying to hear it. I ain't even trying to hear it, fam. Okay, it was versus the Saints, man. I ain't trying to hear it. Everyone calm down on Arizona losing this game. I don't know why Arizona is not favored in this game. With all the injuries that, San Francisco does have. I think at the end of the day, Kyler Murray finally wakes up this week and gets the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. I think they're going to connect for a tutty this week. That's another one you can go throw in on the side if you'd like. But I definitely am comfortable with taking the Arizona Cardinals +2.5 versus San Francisco this week as the fourth leg of the juicy parlay, guys. So that's the juicy parlay of the week. Again, at the time of the bet, +1,248. So go lock that in. Make sure you let me know how much you won. First leg, Jacksonville -1.5 versus Houston. Second leg, Atlanta -5.5 versus Carolina. Third leg, Chargers -3 versus the Denver Broncos. And fourth leg, the Cardinals +2.5 versus the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers. All right? Now, let's get into the investment wrap of the week real quick for y'all, man. This investment wrap of the week, I definitely do want to say, man, this is very important. There was a couple different things that have come out. One of the things I just wanted to highlight was Putin called out the U.S. for basically trying to get the national debt into crypto and then, devalue it, obviously, because it's easier once it's on the crypto exchanges to kind of inflate and deflate, which allows for the debt to go up and down rapidly, which would essentially help the U.S. out. So Putin was essentially saying that the U.S. is gonna work the 35 trillion national debt, guys, into crypto exchanges somehow, and basically just easily manipulate it, and poof. Now the national debt is gone, or the national debt is much lower, and this is absolutely genius. Like, if it's true, this is absolutely genius. I gotta say, as long as they can find a legal way to do it, absolutely genius, bro. Absolutely genius move by the U.S. government. Absolutely. Y'all know we don't get into politics, just real life. But this week they kind of had another genius move that came out, and something that they're working on that I definitely wanted to highlight, just because of some things that we've talked about on previous investment wraps of the week recently. So, for this, guys, what happened is basically these markets, the stock market that is, a lot of them, okay, are going to be regulated to reporting earnings only 6 months, every 6 months, I should say. So these companies, guys, are only, right now, of course, if you know the stock market, if you invest, if you look at anything, if you have a brain and hear anything, the stock market reports quarterly earnings, okay, meaning every 3 months these companies are reporting earnings. Now, what the Trump administration has proposed is for these companies to begin reporting on a 6-month basis, okay, rather than every 3 months. And this is extremely important, guys, because now, if a stock has a good Christmas like an Amazon, really, that stock's going to run for 6 months, or depending on kind of when they set up the earnings to be every 6 months, right? But like, you don't have to stress as much, okay? And the markets can be able to stay more consistent. And so if a company has strong numbers, odds are they're going to continue to go up unless some news breaks out about their CEO getting canceled or some shit, you know what I mean? odds are that company is going to continue to have success in the stock market. If a company has bad earnings, if something's going wrong in the news and they have bad earnings, odds are it's going to continue to go down because there's not an earnings call until that next time. So that's extremely important because the markets, again, guys, can now stay more consistent. So this is, again, yet another example of the U.S. government finding ways to make the stock market more important, making it so investors make more money at the end of the day, like they said, right? Like they said that they were going to do that. And this, for me, it points to, and I was talking to my boy about it, of course, it points to, like, it makes sense why all the big tech CEOs were standing behind Trump at the inauguration and stuff like that. You feel me? Like, that definitely makes total sense as to why certain moves like that are happening, because this makes their job so much easier. As a CEO of one of these, huge companies, we only got to report twice a year, say less. Cool, right? Like, that's just what it is. So, very interesting to happen. But about 2 to 3 episodes ago, I told you guys a theory that I felt like, looking at the markets and the charts that I've been looking at, that 2026 was going to kind of be a cool off period for the markets, for crypto and everything like that, due to the fact that a lot of stocks were at all-time highs. The S&P hundreds, of course, at all-time highs. You know what I mean? But however, in life, just like things change, people change when you're in the markets. And as my boy AC said, sometimes there is paradigm shifts, man. And this sort of news, guys, is a complete paradigm shift, to his point, and to quote him verbatim. And on this pod, of course, y'all know this, man. We don't pay attention to politics, so we're not glazing nobody here or anything like that. But at the end of the day, we pay attention to real life. Okay, and what real life is pointing to, guys, as I was chatting with my boy AC about, right? Like, Trump would want a 2026 slowdown, because he wouldn't want the markets to just roar in his first year in office and then just start going down from all-time highs, right? So at that point, there's going to be a cool down, right, of the markets, was kind of my prediction. That way they could allow all their boys to get back in one final time before the last 2 years of his term. They just try and roar the stock market in some way, shape, or form, okay? But again, in this sort of situation, guys, unless you could find a way to make 2026 be more steady, right, and make investors more money, keep these stocks roaring up from the all-time highs that they're already at, right? And guess what? They found a way to do exactly that. They found a way to do exactly that. So now, as in just like you have to do in life, now you have to switch where you're at, right? Now you have to switch your mindset, switch what you're looking at, switch what you're thinking. Because previously I'm thinking, hey, these are at all-time highs. They got to have a cool off. Again, it makes sense for Trump not to want these stocks to, go to all-time highs and just continue roaring up. At the end of the day, he wants his boys to get in when they cool off again. He wants, retail to be able to get in one final time so they can really have a good run up. But now, when you have these companies, again, guys, only reporting every 6 months, that's not the case. Let's keep them running, boys. Let's keep them running. Let's keep these stocks going up. Then these stocks keep going up. Then you get into different things. Of course, these companies can look into stock splits, dividends going up, stuff, things like that, guys. All things that point to good signs for investors, okay? And it's just extremely important, man. Again, this makes investors less worried. This makes it, investing in the U.S. markets a little bit safer, if you will, at certain times, if you do it properly and correctly, all right? And this is going to be huge. This will be completed, all right? This will be completed. This is going to be huge for the United States and the stock market, guys. And for anyone that is under 30 listening to this pod, if you have not yet, set up your investment account. Like, it's just crazy to me that people don't do this on a regular basis. I think it's insane. I think it's absolutely insane that people don't do this for themselves on a regular basis. Like, literally invest in these companies. Anyways, but if you're over 30, obviously still do the same thing if you don't have an investment account as well. But, like, don't be a bozo, guys. Like, again, just pay attention to real life. Y'all know how we do on this pod. And, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, sorry about last week, but we back, baby. So appreciate y'all tuning in, man. It's Sunday. Hopefully y'all are listening right before you about to watch some football. I hope y'all have a blessed Sunday. Let's have a great week coming up. Let's stay focused, elevate yourself always, and empower others, guys. We out.